So here I was this morning getting ready to do my routine cruise news search. Typically in the mornings, whenever I wake up around 4 or 5 a.m., even though I already have ideas and topics ready for cruise news, should I be doing a video that day, I always check on Google, I check on Facebook groups, Reddit, cruise forums, and other cruise media sites to see if there's any other brand new news, any relevant topics, anything that I think all of you might find interesting, and things that, to be honest with you, I think you're going to click on. I always search for these things periodically throughout the day to see if there is any updates or anything that I think I should put in replacement of any other news that I had planned that night prior. Now, I was looking on Google. Actually, I didn't even get a chance to search. As soon as I open up the internet, the first thing I see is another infamous story about Florida man. Well, a man from Miami to be specific. So I thought with everything going on between me going to Alaska in the past week and everything that's happened over there, I thought I'd talk about it. Now, to be completely transparent with you, this story that I'm going to be talking about in today's video is sad and horrific. There's also another story that I want to talk about that took place last week involving a man overboard. Well, in this particular case, a woman overboard situation over in Alaska last week. Now, as most of you know, I just got back from Alaska a couple short days ago, and I do believe that when it comes to these two stories, these very realistic stories, there is a point that I want to bring home here that I think everybody really should understand and keep in mind when it comes to cruising. So I do want to start this video out by giving my sincere condolences to the friends, family, and loved ones of the victims that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. Like I said, these stories are very tragic and sad, but as most of you know, I do believe that we can never shy away from reality. Whether you're on a vacation or if you're at work, things can happen no matter where you go. I also want to point out that the names that I'm going to be mentioning in these videos have already been revealed. They're public record, and there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of articles that are already talking about these people, bringing up their names. So I am not the first person to do it. I'm simply stating it because this is what is already available when it comes to public record, being that both of these victims are adults. So getting into our first story, this past Saturday on May 21st, the remains of a 32-year-old man named William Anthony Rodriguez was found just next to the Skagway cruise port over in Alaska. Now, according to the U.S. Coast Guard, William jumped in the water near the cruise port the following day on May 20th around 2:10 p.m. Now, at the time, they say he was just swimming around, and then he ended up swimming to the bow of a ship, which we now know to be the NCL Jewel that happened to be in port that day over in Skagway, where he struggled eventually after he got to the bow of the ship and then went under. It wouldn't be until the following day. Yes, there were searches with the Coast Guard, and of course the cruise line, they did help as well, but they also brought in search dogs the following day. They brought in divers, and they used the dogs to find the scent of the man, and that's how they ended up finding the remains the following day on the 21st. Now, the family has been notified, but like I said, guys, this is a very tragic situation. However, I also want to point out that I have read multiple articles on this. You can look it up yourselves on Google. You'll find literally tons of articles, but some say he was a passenger, some say that he wasn't, or at least they don't mention it. So I don't want to confirm or deny if this man was actually a passenger on board the NCL Jewel or any other ship in port over in Skagway for that matter at that point in time. Now, I also do want to talk about another unfortunate tragedy that recently took place over in Alaska. There was a woman that went overboard while sailing on board the celebrity Solstice. Now, before I go into the details, this story is crazy in particular because, well, when I was sailing on board Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas, the celebrity Solstice was also next to my ship. We didn't sail the exact same itinerary. However, I did also see the ship over in Victoria, over in British Columbia in Canada, and we also finished at the same time. So when we heard that there was a woman that went overboard on my ship, it was obviously the talk of the town during my sailing last week. Anyway, a 40-year-old woman by the name of Selena Powell-Perez went overboard on the Celebrity Solstice on May 17th, approximately at 3 a.m. Now, this took place in the Lynn Canal, just 20 miles off the west coast of Alaska's capital, Juneau. Unfortunately, according to the U.S. Coast Guard, after a 4-day search and rescue mission effort, they decided to call off the search and rescue due to factors, as they put, like the weather, the temperature, and other factors, which they deemed it was very, very unlikely that the woman would have have survived past this point. Now, also just keep in mind that the human body, well, we're not superhumans. When it comes to the water, outside alone on land, when I was there, you're looking at 40s to 50-degree temperatures. We're talking about Fahrenheit, of course, meaning the highest temperature the water would have been is about 40 degrees. When it comes to 40-degree weather, the human body can only withstand that type of temperature and survive for about 20 minutes or so. So you can understand why the call was unfortunately made by the U.S. Coast Guard. Now, like I said, I was sailing on board Ovation of the Seas. We were with that ship in our home port over in Seattle. We did see it also in another port, and we finished at the same time. A lot of people on board my ship were obviously making it the talk of the town because they had questions like, what happened? Now, one thing that a lot of seasoned cruisers like myself and a lot of you understand is that nobody just falls off a cruise ship. There are at least 3 different scenarios. Well, I want to say 3 main scenarios. Either somebody intentionally jumped, which we hope isn't the case with this particular situation, but this is usually the most likely scenario, unfortunately, when it comes to cruising. And again, just stick around because I want to bring a point home when it comes to this. There could be a situation where somebody is just being stupid. They are hanging on the railings. They are trying to take a selfie on the railings or something, and they end up falling in, or they're playing games. We've seen that happen before. Or it's foul play. But like I said, to be honest with all of you, that's usually the least likely scenario, and usually people end up jumping. And I'm not saying that's what's going on in this particular case, just letting you guys know the facts and when it comes to stuff like this that takes place. So Celebrity and Royal Caribbean are under the same umbrella known as Royal Caribbean Group. The reason I'm bringing this up is because most of you know that I am a crew member. Well, I was a former crew member. I just signed another contract with another cruise line that I start in 2 days. But anyway, on board Ovation of the Seas in particular, I had friends that I was planning on visiting, like Chris Wong, a friend of mine, Gabby, which you guys all saw in my videos. But I come to find out I have a lot more friends that was on board that ship. And naturally, they are in communication with people that work for Celebrity. And naturally, I did hear a lot of things that were going on, in particular with this situation. However, it's not what I'm here to talk about. I just heard things that this woman was a mother, and again, very tragic situation. But the point that I want to bring home with this particular situation that's going on, or in fact, both of these stories that I talked about, is that oftentimes whenever I talk about this kind of stuff, or whenever often a lot of you may hear this stuff, a lot of people are very quick to, for some reason, blame the cruise lines, like the cruise lines played a role in the hand into as to why and how all this stuff seemed to unfold. I want to just go ahead and take some time to explain this to all of you. The cruise lines are in no way, shape, or form responsible for the things that people do while they're on board a cruise ship. You got to remember that most of these modern, especially these large cruise ships these days, are literally the equivalent of small cities. Some of these ships have the same capacity, if not more, than some of these cities that we visited in Alaska. And I'm not laughing in the sense of the situations that go on. I'm laughing in the sense that it's crazy when you really think about how massive these cruise ships are. Things can, do, and will happen. People are going to unfortunately decide that they want to do something stupid. People are going to decide that, well, maybe they maybe need to take the worst option possible, the ultimate choice in life. People are going to make mistakes. Things happen. These things happen all the time on board cruise ships. Even on my ship in particular, you guys didn't hear about it, but there were 2 heart attacks that happened. One on board the cruise ship and one on a tour bus in the middle of an excursion in Skagway. Now, my point to all of this is that you guys got to understand, a lot of people will say that whenever I talk about this stuff, it's either negative or that the cruise lines or cruises are dangerous and all this other stuff. No, guys, this is reality, right? Whether you are on land or vacation, things are going to happen. And I say this stuff all the time, and I talk about these things because, as always, I believe the awareness is very important. And the only thing you can look out for at the end of the day is yourself. Look out for your mental health. Do your own risk assessment, because yes, we see people that maybe decide all of a sudden they want to do something a little bit more risky that is different from what they would normally do at home because they think they're untouchable due to the fact that they're on vacation. But anyway, guys, I don't want to make this a rant. Just keep in mind, we live in the real world and things are going to happen. It is what it is, and the cruise line should not be blamed for it. Anyway, like I said, guys, these are unfortunate situations, but let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below, and hopefully we don't hear about anything like this for a while. I mean, like I said, guys, it is what it is at the end of the day. Just know that I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. That is today's cruise news. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see all of you tomorrow. Take it easy.